Hello everybody, welcome back to the latest Slapshot special. Today we're joined by a player who has made an immediate statement in the NIHL National. Coming over from Canadian University Hockey, he arrived in Telford, hit the ground running, helped the Tigers to the top of the table and hasn't looked back since returning from injury. So from St Mary's University to the Tigers Blue Line, please welcome Caelan McPhee.
Yeah, no, thanks guys. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it. Excited to be here.
Appreciate you coming on, Caelan, and obviously giving us a bit of your time. How are you feeling? How was the holidays for you?
It was good. I actually got to spend it with one of my buddies' families that lives over here in Sully Hall. So they kind of made me feel like home away from home, which was good. And overall, it went by quick, but it was a good little break for sure.
Yeah, nice to get away from the rinks for a few days.
Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, no, it's been kind of a whirlwind of the first half of the season for sure. So it was nice to get a little recharge at their house for sure.
Yeah, a few days break. Love that. So let's go straight into you then, Caelan. So, you know, prior to England, you spent your entire hockey career in Canada before coming to the UK. You just come off 5 seasons in the youth sports with St Mary's University. What made now the right time to make the move, you know, abroad or to England?
Spent like you said, like the 5 years in youth sports, and the whole time you're obviously playing hockey, you're working towards a degree, right? So I graduated with my degree last spring, and it just kind of felt like the right time to kind of maybe like expand my options and see if I could, you know, make it in a league overseas. I wasn't really sure if it was going to be the NIHL or a different league, but I definitely wanted to try and make it over here somewhere. So just felt like the right time for me.
Love that. And was the idea of testing yourself, you know, in a new league something that you've been thinking about for a while? And, you know, is it sort of like experiencing different cultures and stuff, I guess, as well?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you said, like I definitely wanted to, you know, expand my horizon and experience a new culture. Like, you know, whether it was in the UK or another country, and you know, just like getting a little change of scenery and kind of like, you know, testing yourself, like you said as well. Like, you know, you never know how far you can make it or how far you can push yourself unless you know, just kind of go for it. So I thought, why not? I'm only young so long, so might as well just try and get something going here while I still can.
You only live once, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's the saying.
So for listeners who might not know youth sports that well, how would you describe that league and the level that you've come from?
I'd describe it like I played in the AUS, which is like the Atlantic Conference in youth sports itself, and I'd say that's like it's a smaller conference, but it's definitely a lot more competitive, I'd say, than maybe some of the others because you face the same teams all the time, the same guys, and you know, those guys are all made up mostly, I'd say, like 90 to 95% of former CHL players. So those guys are from like NHL draft picks to guys that have been in NHL camps as invites. You know, there or guys that have already played pro and are coming back from higher leagues. So I'd say it's very competitive and very fast paced, and you can't really take a night off in that league because the other teams will make you pay for it for sure.
I love that. So that's definitely give you a little bit of pedigree ready for your next step then.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like even just practicing with those guys every day, you know, like they have so much experience and they're just such good hockey players. So like just surrounding yourself with guys like that really help push yourself and kind of just, you know, just chip away at making yourself better every day. And you know, that's at the end of the day, that's what you kind of want to do, right? Every year you want to, you know, try and get a little bit better than you were the year before. So I think it's a great environment for that.
I love that, and I think the more the years go on, especially over here, we're seeing more and more players come from youth sports over to the national and even the elite league and stuff like that. So, and you know the consistency of the level of the play is really good. So obviously we know that there's definitely some credibility there. So what did you know about Telford before signing, and sort of how did that come about?
Yeah, no, funny enough, a guy that was like my roommate for like 3-4 years at university, Cameron Pound, his dad got me, Ian Pound got me in contact with Tom, because I'm a guy that didn't have like an agent coming outside of university. So I just kind of needed an end to talk to someone, and Ian is a pretty well known guy over here in the UK for the hockey world. So He knew Tom just throughout the years, and he kind of just gave me his phone number, and I just thought, hey, like I'll send him a message and send him a little bit of a highlight tape, and if he's interested, then he'll respond. If not, then whatever, right? So he ended up responding, and we kind of talked for a few months, back and forth, and just got to know each other, a couple phone calls, and eventually he just offered me the contract. So I'd say through my good friend Cameron Pound and his dad, for sure.
Love that. That's it. So that's so unique. Cause we don't usually hear like, oh yeah, my agent was in touch with these guys, but you've had to advocate for yourself there.
Yeah, no, I did for sure. Like I said, like I was a guy coming from like the US, same areas where like there's a bunch of good players, and you're obviously not going to be playing as much as you do in this league, and like a lot of it's like stat based nowadays.
Yeah.
So the coaches looking, so sometimes you just gotta advocate for yourself, like you said, and put together some film and show them other aspects of your game other than just getting on the score sheet. So I think that definitely helped me out.
Love that. And was there much convincing for you? Did it take much convincing to see that this was the right fit, or was it a pretty mutual thing?
I think it was like pretty mutual on both ends. Like honestly, like I just felt very lucky to get offered and like fortunate to get offered a contract, and like it's been my dream ever since I like started playing as a little kid to like try and play some sort of level of pro, and whatever league it is. So just when Tom offered me the contract, I took a few days to talk to my parents, and obviously it wasn't the only team I was talking to, but it just seemed like a right fit. Like Tom seemed like a good guy, and like a respectable guy in the hockey world over here. So I thought, why not, right? Like I've heard some decent things about Telford, and I asked my buddies Cameron Pound and his dad as well, like what they thought of it, and they thought it'd be a good fit for me. So I just kind of just pulled the trigger on it.
Tom's definitely got that credibility over here as well, and that respect from the coaches and league wide. So yeah, you're in with a good one there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Did you have much expectations coming in, or was it just focused on clean slate? Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, like I feel like every player kind of has some sort of expectations, like including myself, where you want to set some standards for the end of the season and where you want to see yourself, right? So I kind of try to place my expectations around kind of what I was like in junior A before I went to university, like maybe having like similar seasons there, like whether that's stat wise or just like the style of play I used to play like. So I kind of just wanted to get back to maybe being a little bit more offensive and covering all aspects of my game in that sense. So I just kind of wanted to be a little bit more productive and show that I can still do it and contribute in that sense.
Well, funnily enough, you've absolutely transitioned that into my next segment, which is fantastic about being so offensive and contributing. Because my next segment, or the next part of sort of the interview that I wanted to talk about, was your start to Telford. And to be fair, you really hit the ground running. You hit points straight away, and obviously, I think your opening weekend was against Leeds and NK, right? And you won both of those games. Like, how quickly was it for you to feel comfortable out there?
Yeah, no, like we obviously practiced for a little bit before we played our first games, just like every team does. So you're getting to know the guys and like the style of play your coach wants out of you. So it was an easier transition than some people might think. Just especially with like I said, the guys around me are really really nice guys, and they all work really hard, so they make it easy on you out there to put you in the right spots, and it's just kind of up to you to do the rest, right? When they set you up like that. So I was fortunate enough to hit the ground running, like you said, and put the puck in the back of the net a couple times. But after that, it's just kind of realizing you can do that sort of thing, and you still got it. So just kind of just ride the confidence a little bit, and just kind of just stay grounded and keep working every week.
I know you say about staying grounded, but surely, like after those couple of first wins, and you'll have been given the background about those kinds of teams. Surely that your confidence built quite fast for you and the other guys in the camp to sort of be like, oh, like this is what we can do.
Yeah, no, like talking to the guys in the room that have been there for years, they've obviously been a part of successful teams with Telford, and like doing really well in the year. And last year it might have been or or was like a little bit of a down year for them. But they didn't really let it affect them, and they knew that like we had a lot of potential this year, especially with the imports that we have and the guys coming back and returning. So, I think after those first couple wins, we kind of just all looked at each other and knew that we have a pretty good team, and as long as we keep working towards the one goal of winning a trophy, then we have a good chance as long as we have each other's back. So I think it was definitely a confidence builder for the boys for sure.
You're being pretty humble there by saying pretty good team.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, let's just talk about that little run as well at the start of the season. So, those two was really important. But then in your first 10 games, you went on to win 7 of them. You was right up the table. Inside the room, does that just build something each week? Does it feel like there was something special going on there? And, did that early run sort of change the belief within the group? Obviously you say that there was a little bit of a down year last year, and I know that they'll have been expecting more of themselves, but after that kind of run, you must be thinking like, wow, we've got something here.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, like the guys after the first couple of weekends when we're stringing some wins together, it's just like kind of a sure that's building where we have the guys in the room and the tools to put together wins in this league where it's so competitive, especially this year, from what I've heard from previous years. So just like beating teams like MK and Leeds to start out was huge. And, like Tom's kind of the person and the coach to, not let it get to your head, stay at it, stay working. So, he did a good job as well of like, finding the strengths that we had in the first couple of weeks and trying to build on them some more, and definitely looking at some of the stuff that we needed to work on. So, just in all aspects throughout the whole club, I think it was good for us, and we try to keep it going throughout the year.
Yeah, and as a defenseman, obviously more particularly the import defenseman, you have contributed offensively really well. But obviously that's come with good minutes as well. So how do you balance that responsibility? Obviously playing a lot of minutes in your position and being one of those imports who's one of the most important players in the team, but also having to chip in, or not having to chip in, but doing that anyway. Is that something you thrive on?
Yeah, well, like just like I said earlier in the pod, like just kind of trying to model my play a little bit more like I was in junior when you're getting like those more minutes and being on the ice and on all special teams and stuff like that. So I try to like mimic that if I could, and like obviously in youth sports you don't play as many minutes unless you're like a big guy coming from like a pro league or a really good CHL player. So just having, I think I definitely have shown that I can do that. And it's a lot of more minutes definitely like you set your body a little more if you're not really used to it for a little bit. But I definitely think that I've adjusted pretty good, and just having the mindset that I can, not just contribute offensively, but have to be responsible defensively and eat up those minutes for the team to help them win.
Do you enjoy being trusted in all them situations? So again, you talk about the special teams and bits and bobs like that.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy being trusted. I think that's one of the the best feelings as a player you could have is just being trusted by your coach and being thrown out in those situations. Like I think if you don't want to be thrown out in those like big situations, then you got to check your pulse or something, right? Because that's what you kind of want to play for, right? So I think it's a great feeling, yeah, and I really like it.
Yeah. So let's talk about, there was a little bit of a setback, wasn't there, partway through the season. So, you guys had some really, really good momentum, but it was sort of yours personally was a little bit interrupted early in November. Obviously, you had an injury which kept you out for a while. How tough was that period for you?
Yeah, no, it was definitely tough. Just having a lower body injury like that, where like you can't really skate or anything like that, like definitely weighs on you a bit, and just the tough period at the same time for the guys on the ice, like that little bit, like yeah, like definitely tough to take in, but you can't really stay sad too long or hard on yourself too long. Like you gotta turn the page and be there for the team as much as you can, and stay positive. So because like misery loves company, right? So like if you're gonna be if you're gonna be miserable around the rink, it definitely affects other people. So you try not to let it take over you too much, and just like I said, turn the page and try to look forward to the next week and just take it 1 week at a time, kind of thing.
Yeah, no, I get that. In the immediate, do you think it was harder mentally watching from the sidelines, and seeing that rough patch rather than actually physically trying to be back?
Yeah, like I think that's an underrated part of being hurt, right? Is having to watch all the games, like when you really want to help your team, like I said, and you just can't. So it was definitely like a little mentally draining for me, just like sitting up there, like even just watching practices, like not being around the guys on the ice, like it's not fun, right? So nobody wants to be hurt. So but like you said, like you just gotta like try to find some positives in it, and like being up there in the stands, like I tried to just watch all the games, and like it was like film and taking stuff that maybe I could do better out on the ice once I'm back. So, or like how other teams play and all that. So I definitely tried to find the silver lining in it. But yeah, at the end of the day, like nobody wants to be hurt and watching, so it was definitely tough too in that aspect.
Well, it seems that you've definitely picked up on what the other teams have been doing, because since your return, a couple of weeks ago, mid-December, you've definitely picked up where you left off. You've pretty much got points in almost every game, and I think, is it 4 wins out of 5 since you've been back? How good does it feel to be back and be contributed?
Great, honestly. Like just like just going through that was really tough, as we talked about, and being able to come back and contribute right away is really, really nice feeling, like a really good feeling. And just seeing the boys like happy in the room after wins and all that again, and realizing that we have a lot of character in the room, a lot of guys that can help turn around the season at a point where we were maybe down was really cool. And yeah, just being able to contribute in general was nice, but getting the wins is more important and a better feeling for sure.
And do you feel like you're fully back to your best now, or do you think there's still a few more weeks to knock a bit more rust off?
No, I think I'm pretty well back. Like I'd say maybe the last couple of weeks, like maybe I wasn't throwing as many hits, but other than that, like I think I'm pretty well back, and like I feel comfortable again and move around and everything like that, and just being out on the ice, you don't really lose it too quick. Like I feel like maybe after just a week or two, you kind of get back in the rhythm. So I'm definitely feel comfortable again.
Now, I don't want you to be humble here. I want you to be honest. Did that time out give you a different perspective on the team or your role within it? Because, Telford as a team, you've done fantastic this season, but you've been a really big influence on it. So did you, maybe seeing that little rough patch whilst you was out, make you make you think or recognise how important you are to the team?
Yeah, like no, like I like just as an import defenseman, just being the only one on the team too, like you kind of realize that you might have a bigger role than you're used to on other teams that you played for. So I kind of knew just before the injury itself that I had a responsibility to like help out like massively on the back end, like especially being the only import, like I said. So but yeah, so I definitely kind of felt that a little bit, but I think the boys still did a good job. Like a couple of
Yeah.
unlucky results and bounces while I was out. Like they weren't playing that bad at all, I would say. Like they're giving it their all, and they're really, really working for those wins. And like I said, just a couple of bad bounces. So we have some excellent players on the back end as well, that you guys are already aware of. So I think they did an excellent job while I was away. So I obviously you realize like kind of the role you had, like you said, but I can't take anything away from the guys. They did really well while I was gone.
Oh, definitely. That's not us saying that they didn't do well, because obviously you look at where you are on the table right now. You guys are smashing it. Just as a little side segment that I thought that might be fun, I wanted to ask you a little bit about, before we go into Telford's, expectations, depth, that kind of thing. I wanted to sort of pick your brains about, your life as an import and sort of adapting over here. So obviously, again, we've touched that it's your first season playing outside of North America. But what do you think's been the biggest adjustment for you? It can be obviously on ice or off ice.
It was kind of an easier transition than you might think. Like my mom was born in Liverpool,
Oh,
so she's already very familiar with the culture over here, and I kind of grew up in that culture per se, I guess you
yeah.
could say. So, like my nanny on my mom's side, my grandma, she has like a heavy accent still, all that. So, I definitely am quite aware with how things work over here. But I'd say the biggest adjustment was probably just the time. First off, like when
Yeah.
I first got here, it was just like adjusting to the time difference, and other than that, like maybe I'd say maybe the pub culture and stuff like that. Like everybody likes going to the pubs and stuff like that compared to like maybe back home. So that was another fun adjustment, I'd say.
Yeah.
But no, honestly, it was an easy transition. Like I didn't think I didn't think it was that taxing on myself other than the time when I first got here, and everybody's been so nice since I've got here as well. So like I haven't really had any challenges per se. Yeah.
Was there anything that about sort of the UK game that surprised you?
Uh, yeah, like maybe like a little bit more, you know, uh, like gritty, I'd say. Like overall, like in the AUS, like obviously it's physical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of skill out there on the ice and very high speed. So I feel like maybe over here it's a little bit more like battling in the corners and having to keep your head up and and all that. So I feel like yeah, like obviously the game's growing here too. So all the play is getting better from what I've heard as well, and
Yeah.
a lot of skill out there as well. But maybe like yeah, there's a little bit of grittiness and having to watch your back out there a little more and take care of yourself.
And I mean, you are right. But obviously, our league sort of really physical and fast, and it can be very emotional inside the buildings, can't it? How does that sort of compare to the intensity that you felt in youth sports?
Yeah, no, definitely like having all those fans in the rink and the atmosphere itself, is a little bit different than U sports. Like U sports, depending on where you play, obviously, but I know at St. Mary's, like we're like right by where the Mooseheads would play, the Halifax Mooseheads, so they've kind of got all the fans, right? So, maybe playing in an environment like over here in the UK is a little bit more dynamic and intimidating, but you get used to it quick, and it gets you into the games and all that. So, I'd say it's a nice change for sure coming from the U Sports to the UK. They really love their hockey over here,
Oh,
so it seems, right. So, just being in those environments is really cool and makes you want to play harder for sure.
absolutely. And when we spoke to Deacon, and obviously we've spoke to a couple of the other Telford lads, not on interviews, but in messages and stuff like that. They all told us that the British core in Telford is like really like a good set of lads. How easy, like, how welcoming of the lads being in? I imagine obviously there was very welcoming, but did they help you settle in pretty fast?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, the guys are all time here for sure. The British core, they're all excellent guys and really welcoming, like you said, and really funny and outgoing guys. So like it honestly was pretty easy coming here and getting to know the guys and fitting in. I guess you could say as fast as possible, right? Like you want to build that chemistry early, and whether it's on ice or off the ice, and they're an unreal group of guys and really good friends.
Yeah. Well, like we just said, so this Telford team seems like really well balanced and one that it definitely stands out for the last couple of seasons from which I can remember. Obviously, that you do have that strong British core, but you've also got a mix of imports as well. So obviously, David and Eric last season were pulling up trees, and yourself and Patrick have come in and done a really good job. So, what sort of stands out to you about this group? Do you feel like other teams in the league maybe underrate you a little bit, or what's your thoughts on the team as a whole?
Yeah, like I feel like every team in the league, holds himself really highly. So obviously there might be a little bit of, undermine towards to us per se, but like you said, I think we're really balanced, and we have 3-4 lines that can all contribute and contribute in the game, like in any aspect, whether that's being physical or killing penalties or doing well in the power play and in all aspects. So I think just having that good British core that's been there for a hot minute, and them just knowing the league really well and knowing how to win some games helps a lot. And then having the imports, like you said, like Patrick and Eric and David, they're all really good players. So just bringing them in as well, has really helped the team out. So in all aspects, not just offensively as well.
I watched the whole game last week, and watching David in the first 3 minutes, I think he hit about 5-6 hits, and I was watching, I was thinking, this is the guy that's putting up like 50 points. Him and Eric Henderson. When you see those kinds of stats, you think they're going to be like, we're going to stand off, we're just going to score, but that's not the case at all, is it? So I said to the lads, like, if their import that's hitting 50 points already is the one that's going leading the charge and smashing into people, can you imagine what everybody else behind them doing? And it just seems like there's a massive buy-in from like top to bottom. There's no like prima donnas. Everyone's got a role. But yeah, I watched the game last week, and you guys were playing a really, really good game. It was really tough to play against.
Yeah, no, yeah, Tom, our coach, I don't think he really he would allow like guys to kind of take a back seat in that aspect, right? Like he really like admires guys that work really hard and contribute physically out there. So whether you're scoring points or you're hot or whatever, I still think you gotta be throwing body out there and winning puck battles, like whether it's small or big, and just not backing down anyone. So like you said, like guys like Dave and Eric and Pat will definitely be contributing with their bodies if they can, and I think that's just kind of the type of players they are too, where they don't want to take a back seat and they want to let the other team know that they're in a game. So I think our whole team kind of models after that, and just we want to be a presence out there and not just prima donnas, like you would say, I guess, and like show other teams that we're a tough team to play against, and we'll fight for those wins.
Is there anybody on the Telford team that you would say probably don't get as much credit as they deserve?
Oh, yeah, I think there's a lot of guys, maybe like guys that maybe don't show up on the score sheet a lot, but they're really good defensive game, and they really chip away and win battles and help out in all aspects and penalty counts. So there's probably a bunch of guys that I can name. Just going through it, like Harry Ferguson's having a good year now. Like he's been really good for us, like defensively and now he's kind of hitting the score sheet at this point in the season, and helping out in that regard. So I think he's a pretty underrated guy, I'd say. And moving down the line, you got guys like Joe Aston with the A on our team is a really good guy in the room, and really, really nice presence, and works his nuts off out there for the boys. So he's another guy I'd say that's pretty underrated, and all the boys love him. So the list could go on, right? Those are just off the top of my head, but there's a bunch of guys that I think are definitely underrated.
You've had a bit of a line change as well since you've come back. You've been playing with Chris Fergallis, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
How have you found that? He's a bit of a different player to yourself, isn't he?
Oh yeah, like Chris is. I think he's a great player. He he's very smooth and doesn't really panic too much with the puck, and he can make a good first pass and good defensively as well, and not afraid to throw the body. So I think he's pretty easy. He makes me look good out there.
That's what you need, right? You need someone who can complement yourselves, and definitely not one to be too afraid to get be a part of the physical game. So that's really good. So obviously, I think still people are saying that there's like an underdog mentality around Telford this season, but that's probably because of last season maybe, and the 8th place finish or whatever. Is that something that you guys embrace then? Like, do you mind being the underdogs, or does that take expectation away from you?
No, like I think like there's the same belief in the room that we can be a top team, and we've shown that we can be a top team in the league on our night. So, just beating the top teams, and just kind of building that belief is good for us. But like obviously like the rough patch kind of set us back a little bit, but I think after these last few weekends where we picked it back up, it kind of is rebuilding what we want to achieve. And I think if we keep trending in the right direction like we have been the last few weeks, then I think we have a really good shot of doing some more damage in the playoffs, hopefully. So I think there's no doubt in the room. I think everybody kind of knows that we can be that team. So it's just a matter of just doing it.
So obviously looking ahead to the rest of the season, like you've just touched on, what do you believe this Telford team is capable of?
I think we're capable of great things this year. Like obviously like out of the cup, and quite a ways back from, I think I want to say Swindon maybe at the top. Like it's gonna be tough to do that, but get in the mindset of like building good habits and building good wins to the end of the season, and kind of trying to take that into a good playoff spot if we can, and doing some damage there is what we kind of expect out of ourselves right now. So I think everybody, if you ask any player, any team in the league, they're going to want to say they want to win playoffs, right? So I think that's what we're kind of working towards right now too.
And be honest here, do you feel like you guys are building towards something quite big? Because again, the momentum that you're showing at the moment looks pretty similar to the start of the season, doesn't it? Obviously, there's a long season ahead, but things are looking quite good right now.
Yeah, no, I think we can do some damage in playoffs. Like obviously you're not going to say wholehearted tier, but you're definitely going to try your best, and I think we have a very good shot, and I think we can definitely do it. So like I don't doubt anybody in the room, and I doubt anybody else as well. So I think there's a strong belief that we can win that for sure.
Love that. So I don't know. I think it just went a little bit quiet at the end there. Sorry. Can you still hear me? I can chop this.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Perfect. Cool. So obviously we touched on Telford there. Personally, then, what do you want the rest of this season to look like for you?
Like I kind of touched upon it, but just playing the way that we know we can play, and keep building those good habits, and not like taking a backseat to any team is kind of like the mindset I think everybody has going into the last portion of the season. Like this is kind of the portion where like teams should be getting better, and having that good chemistry out there and knowing how to play. So I think just keep it going in that direction. I think is kind of the mindset we all have going in this portion of the season.
What about individually though? Is it staying healthy, keep contributing, or?
Yeah, like in all aspects, like definitely trying to stay healthy, and contributing. Like you don't want to just say you had a good first half of the season and not have a good second half, right? So definitely want to keep contributing, and whether that's offensively or playing a good defensive game, and shutting down some lines or killing penalties. I'll do whatever it takes, right, to get the win. So just keep that going for sure.
And finally, Caelan, do you have a message for the Telford Tigers fans who've backed you, especially through the injury and your return?
Yeah, no, I just like really want to thank everyone, the community of Telford and everybody around the ranks. They've been nothing but kind to me, and really supportive. So I really appreciate it. It goes a long way, and try my best to make it up to you out there when I can, for sure.
Well, I think you've definitely done a good job of that so far since your return and before that. So Like kudos to you, and obviously just a massive thank you from me for joining me today. Obviously, it's been a brilliant insight into your journey. Obviously, your impact on Telford, and obviously what you guys are building there. So, from us, obviously, best of luck for the rest of the season, mate. And we'll be watching very closely.
Yeah, no, yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Alex and guys. And I really appreciate you taking the time to get to know me, and I'm glad I could help you out and give you a little slice of my life.
Yeah, absolutely, have, mate. Yeah, it's been great. So we really appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody watching, that's not just Telford fans, will be interested to hear what you have to say. So we appreciate it. Cheers.
Yeah, no, really appreciate it.
Slapshot Syndicate, pure ambition. 3 mics, 1 mission. Azza and Rossy, yeah, that's the crew. Dropping knowledge, what you gonna do?